Okay, so if you check the Slack, you saw that we had a wee bit of a change of plans tonight. And our lovely, very own treasurer Sean and our one of our advisors Mike is going to be giving us a presentation today on the SFAB grants, what it means, how you and the student orgs and departments you belong to can apply for them, and the functions and purpose of the Student Activities Office. So let's go ahead and give them a round of applause.
Is this good? Can y'all hear me? Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Like Olivia said, my name is Mike Mifflin, pronoun he, him, his, and I am one of the assistant directors in student activities and organizations. My role is to oversee the student organization portion. So today we have a double feature for you all. Any American Horror Story fans here? Couple? Okay, great. Well, because we're doing two presentations. So I'm going to do just a brief introduction to student activities and organizations, some tips and tricks for you all to have, but also to bring back to your friends, folks in other organizations, etc. And then we'll jump into the SFAB grant. With the presentation of the SFAB grant process, we're going to do a basic overview. We're not going to dive too deep into it because I do have information about other presentations that I am giving throughout this semester and next semester about the grant. So just base information. Oh, I need a clicker. There we go. Okay. So what to know about SAO? So who are we? So we're located on the third floor of the Kroc Leadership Center. Give me a show of hands who's actually been up to our office. Okay, quite a few of you. If you have not been up there, I'd highly encourage you to come up, say hi. We always have a ton of candy. There's currently a big bowl of Chips Ahoy cookies and Oreos at the front desk. Just come say hi, introduce yourself. Let us know who you are if we don't know you already. But our office is comprised of 12 full-time staff members, including myself and our director, Dr. Martia King. Yay, Martia. 3 graduate assistants and a slew of SAO ambassadors. SAO ambassadors are fellow students that can meet with other students to help them get involved, find the organization for them, help to know Purdue better. They're there as a resource for students. But really, the main purpose of our office is to help connect interest, hobbies, aspirations, development opportunities, and holistic growth through involvement here at Purdue. How many of you want to graduate college with a 4.0 GPA? I mean, should be everybody, right? We'd all like to be at that point. I've never gotten a 4.0 in my life. I graduated college twice with a master's and a bachelor's, so don't worry if you don't get a 4.0, you can still go do wonderful things. But raise your hands, how many of you would agree that as well as getting good grades, it's also important to get involved? I'd hope you all raise your hands, you're part of PSG, right? But I hope you'd encourage that to other people as well. That's what SAO is here to do. Help folks get involved and have a holistic college experience, meet some friends, have some fun, enjoy the college experience. And just so you all know, we do work rather closely with club sports, FSCL and PSG, and also PGSG. So we are connected with some of the larger organizations on campus that are umbrella groups, but we do have a connection to the near 1,000 student organizations on campus. And it's growing every single day, trust me, I see the numbers. New organizations every day. Most of all, we are here to help. That is our main office objective, is to help student organizations, help student leaders grow, be here for the student population. So what do we do part 1? We did a lot, I tried to fit it onto one slide. I'm not a let's put everything on one slide type of person or a lot of words, but unfortunately I had to do it for this presentation. So we review activity planning forms. We review a lot of activity planning forms, like hundreds and then thousands throughout the entire year. Student organizations submit these because they're letting us know what they want to be doing throughout the year. So every day, every hour, we're looking at activity planning forms. And it's really cool to see, though, like all the really cool things that are happening around campus. We help students start new organizations. Give me a quick raise of hands. Have any of you started your own student organization? Oh, okay. Oh, little hand, okay. Well, this is what we tell students, especially new students to university. If for some reason you can't find what you're looking for in SAO with the near 1,000 organizations that already exist, find some friends and make an organization. No idea is too big or too small. We will help you get your organization started and be sustainable and successful. We're also here to help for updating your Constitution review process and re-registration, because each year student organizations do need to re-register with SAO, so we are here to help in that process. We're also here to guide organizations through the campus safety process. So that's one of the parts of my job that I get to do that I enjoy, is when there's a really big event happening, coming up, where you're bringing someone big to campus, maybe a big political speaker, or groups want to fly to another country or go somewhere, all kinds of things. They go through the campus safety process where they meet with myself representing SAO, also Allison, if you know her from SAO, and then a multitude of campus partners. We're here to help their event be successful but also safe. We're looking at it from a risk management perspective, both, how can our students be safe, how can, wherever they're going be safe, what are we going to do to make sure that their event is successful and no one gets hurt. It's a good time. Before I got here, I guess I was told that the Campus Safety Committee didn't have the best reputation because people were scared to go to them. We're the yes committee. We want to help to say yes. We want to say yes to the event. We have only denied one event so far this entire year, and there have been a lot of events that have gone through campus safety. We're here to help. We're also here to assist with elections and election disputes. So if an organization needs help in their election process, we can help guide them through that. But also if there's some dispute, some confusion, you need to do something differently, we can help with that as well too. And then also guiding organizations navigating requests from campus partners. Sometimes campus partners will ask some pretty weird things or things that an organization may not be familiar with. We're here to help translate what they're saying to the organization, help guide them through the process, help communicate to the campus partners as well as to what the students are saying or asking. Now for part two. Provide opportunities for grant applications, which Sean and I will talk to you tonight, to help fund student organization or department initiatives. There is money that every student on campus contributes from the undergraduate student fee and the graduate student fee to the respective organizations. That money gets compiled and then given out as part of grants. So it's a great process, and a lot of great initiatives and activities can come from the grant initiative. We also assist with brainstorming and fundraising and brainstorming ideas for alumni engagement. So once you graduate college, you may want to still stay connected to the organizations that you're a part of while you're in college, right? Hopefully you also want to be a part of PSG and the organizations you're a part of. Some organizations may want to reach out to those who have graduated. Maybe someone's graduated and got a big fancy six-figure job, and you're like, hey, remember we hung out a couple years ago, we had a fun time? You want to donate some money back? We're going to help you navigate that. That's not an easy thing to ask for, right? We also will help hold groups accountable when there are violations and help them navigate intergroup processes. Unfortunately, conflicts happen, things happen in a group. We help the groups navigate those conflicts. We may do mediations. Also part of my job is to look if there's a violation of Purdue policy or SAO policy. I'm going to look into it, see what happened, try and get the story from everyone to see what violations did occur, if any. And then also helping organizations connect with advisors, navigate their advisor process, or maybe they're looking to do a change up or have a conversation with an advisor they're not prepared for. SAO is there to help as well. And then also provide multiple presentations and trainings, including implicit bias training. Cassandra from our office does do implicit bias training for student organizations. We always encourage every student organization to go through that. Great way to work with intergroup dynamics and look at the bigger picture at Purdue University. We also do host the president and treasurer trainings, as well as weekly Wednesday trainings about how to start a new organization, navigate your constitution, all the things I've mentioned before. We do those trainings as well. So I want to dive in, just give a brief overview of activity planning forms to help everyone be successful. So how many of you all know that the SAO policy is that you should submit activity planning forms 2 weeks in advance? Okay, a lot of you, which is great. We try to hold student organizations to that. That is our policy. We do have the right to deny if an event is submitted inside 2 weeks. But we're also human and we understand things happen. We're in a global pandemic. People are going to be quarantined, going to be sick, something's going to happen, mistakes get made in submitting the form, miscommunication. We will be understanding as long as an organization will talk to us and work with us. What we can't do is have someone submit an APF on a Friday for an event on Saturday. That's not going to work. That's not going to work out. So the activity planning form should be submitted 2 weeks in advance. So if you can help SAO out and pass that information along to your student organization friends, that'd be really nice. We need the APFs for physical meetings and also virtual meetings, events, initiatives, Really, whatever function a student organization is doing, we need an activity planning form for that. And if you are in charge of an APF or you're part of the process, please make sure to respond within 48 hours. That helps us as the reviewers know what's going on with the APF and also our campus partners, especially if you're on a time crunch or our campus partners need important documents to come back to you as well. Ask questions. If you have questions about your APF or anyone does, they can contact our office, and I'll share that in a little bit here with the contact info, or just ask on the APF. Hi, what's the status of this APF? Anything else I need to do? That is really helpful and easy for us to go, oh yeah, let's see what else we can do, because we want to process those APFs. We want to get them through the system and help the organizations out to get on with their event. We can also, the APFs are also used to provide updates. And just in case you realize, oh, our meeting was supposed to be at 6 o'clock and not 7 o'clock, SAO staff, we can edit the APF in the moment to reflect those changes. Or if you have a location change, you just need to communicate with us on that. Now let's just say you get through and your APF is approved, but you realize you do need a location change, you realize your organization did want to get pizza, something's happening, you need to update it. You can submit a change request on the APF. Real easy to do. We always put the instructions in the comments on how to do that. We understand there may be changes that also need to happen. However, if your APF is denied, you can still submit an updated APF. Maybe it's submitted within 2 weeks and we're like, we can't review this in this timeline. Please resubmit for 2 weeks out. Or, you know what, we can't have you bring a live crocodile to campus, so we're just gonna go ahead and deny that. Whatever happens, you can always submit a updated APF. And just so you all know, and you can tell your friends this, maybe if you ever hear someone complaining about the APF process, we are doing some changes with the process and how our staff reviews APFs to increase effectiveness. So we're not taking a long time to review a simple meeting for an APF, or we're asking better intentional questions. We're always looking about how to make these updates and really get the APF process to continue to be better. So really quick, some do's and don'ts for APFs, but also for SAO for you all to know. So some of the do's. Do communicate effectively, answer questions, and supply information when asked. It doesn't help when campus partners or SAO staff are asking questions and we don't get a response for like a week, because then there might be a time crunch, some deadlines have passed, we may not be able to continue to review the APF. So please, for yourselves and for others, please encourage them to respond as quickly as possible. We don't need an immediate response, we don't need people glued to their phones waiting for us to comment, but within 48 hours, that's our general rule. Do ask for questions and ask for help. As I stated twice now already, SAO is here to help. We want you to have a successful event, meeting, etc. Do submit your APFs at least 2 weeks in advance. We're talking about that again because it's very important. The further out, the better. If you're going to have a big event that has multiple layers to it, guest speakers, possible contracts, food, whatever, you may want to consider submitting it out at least more than 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe a month. BOSO does have some questions to ask, especially if you have contracts. Some of it may reach out to 90 days that we need the APF submitted in advance, but we'll try to communicate to that group effectively and as quick as possible. We usually know about those in advance because they come through the grant process, so we do try and inform people. Some of the don'ts. Don't submit an APF within 2 weeks. I know I've said this enough, but if there's one takeaway, please take this away. Don't submit it and just assume it'll be fine. Like, oh, SIO will do it, it'll be okay. That's not the case. Please don't ask us to reserve space or handle the space reservation process. We are unfortunately not the space reservation folks, but we can definitely connect you to the right people and point you in the right direction. And then please don't schedule a meeting with someone from SAO just to be like, hey, can you approve my APF? That's not what our meetings are for. We can help you navigate that process. Trust me, it happens every day. And it's okay, we'll help you out, but save us some time and save you some time as well. So with that, you can always call SAO, drop in the duty hours, or comment on your APF asking for that update. Speaking of duty, our 6 wonderful student affairs specialists are available for duty every single day. We have the listed office hours for virtual hours, and we do also have walk-in hours. So students can come to SAO and just say, can I talk to someone about my APF? I just need to get an update or I have some questions. We'll always have someone available. If for some reason we're all running around because it's a crazy week, we're in meetings, we'll try and get to you as quickly as possible, but usually every day we can get to someone who's waiting for us within 10 or 15 minutes. But some days are crazier than others. So to contact us, again, Crockett Leadership Center, 3rd floor. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Phone numbers there as well. And this is all on the SAO website as well. If you just Google SAO Purdue, you'll find the website with all the contact information and a lot of resources. You can also schedule a meeting via Boiler Link. Different members of our team have different requests when you do schedule a meeting. I like to know, like, what would you like to talk about? Is there a certain grant you're looking into? What organization are you with? Giving us that information helps us prepare for that meeting to help set you up for success. You can also reach out to members of SAO or email sao@purdue.edu. If you do email that SAO account, it's a general email account for the entire department. So please specify who you're trying to direct the email to. Hey, this email is meant for Mike, can you please pass this along? Or I have a question regarding this process, can you please forward it to the appropriate person? Please just give us a little help and let us know where the email should go. So again, SAO website is Google SAO Purdue, you'll find it. Our email address, and again, indicate what topic you're looking into. Any questions about SAO in general or APFs? Yeah.
What do you find most fulfilling?
Ooh, I met with 2 gentlemen today that are trying to bring a comedian to campus next semester, and they had a ton of questions about the APF process and the grant process. And being new to Purdue, I've only been here for 6 months, it was really cool to be able to answer their questions, but also see their excitement about being like, oh, I can apply for this grant and I might be successful, but also seeing their excitement about the event that they're gonna put on. And I love seeing the cool events going on. I was not paid for this plug, but there's a corgi race on Sunday at the track. I'm going to that. I'm bringing my partner Emily. She loves corgis. We're going. I can't wait. I literally saw that APF come in. It got assigned to me, and I literally texted Emily and said, hey, a corgi race coming up in a couple Sundays from now. Let's put that on the calendar. So it really is just seeing all the cool events that happen, and also seeing all the really interesting organizations. Because previous universities I've worked at, there's been 200, 250 student organizations, a lot of cool things to get involved with, right? At nearly 1,000 student organizations on campus, there's just so much you can get involved with or do, so many niche groups for special interests. I just love seeing that. And I love seeing the events people put on, how they're connecting to each other, and also how it's helping fulfill their academics. A lot of student organizations are tied into people's majors, tied into their colleges. That's really cool to see how it's supplementing their education for a holistic experience. Because I believe in the experience outside the classroom. That's how I got here, is I got involved in hall council, hall government my freshman year, went through the Residence Hall Association, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm an assistant director at Purdue. That all came from getting involved. Yeah, I got my grades, had some fun stuff, did some things, got some degrees, but really I'm here today because of the involvement that I did. So, that answer that? Yeah. Yeah.
For your current position, I think you mentioned about a master's degree. Did you get that in higher education or what?
Yeah, so I got my master's degree in educational leadership from the University of Nevada, Reno, and I got my bachelor's in media arts and game development with a minor in German from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. So just a little background about me. I know I normally just sit in the back, look pretty, and watch you all talk and stuff, but I love to chat. I love to say hi, talk about grants, talk about APFs, or real life things too. I'm actually a person, so whatever y'all need. Yeah.
So I feel like there's sometimes a lot of redundancy in terms when we're doing the APFs, because it'll be especially with the COVID, it'll say, oh, what are you doing to protect Purdue on the actual APF? But then in the comments, they'll ask again. So what can we do to reduce that, and what can you guys do to reduce that?
Yeah, so we're actually looking into cutting down those redundancies. It's an ongoing process. With the comments in the APF, when you're filling out the APF, that's just for you to start reflecting on. Those initial comments you see, the first 5 that are usually posted by a staff member, those are preloaded questions that we have to put on all the APFs. So if they don't sound like they're written by a real person, they're literally just a copy and paste from a document that we use. But it's important for us to share that information as well. Just so you all know, SAO doesn't have any secret inside information about any Protect Purdue updates that are coming, but we make sure to post those updates when we do get them in the SAO bulletin, also on our social media as well, or you can always call the office. I don't have anything to share for you all tonight, but those are where those redundancies come from, is because we just want to make sure that people get that information, but also we need to post those comments in there for people to see. Did that answer your question? Any other questions before we go into part 2 of the double feature? And Sean gets to talk. Okay. Well, if you have more questions, I'll hang out for a little bit afterwards. I'm here, every other week or so with Martia. We rotate, or you can only schedule a meeting or stop by. So, Sean, if you'd like to come on up. Are you taking that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that work? All right, cool. Hi guys, I am Sean, your treasurer. I know a lot of you I've met in passing, or if you check out the P card or something. Those of you that I haven't met, feel free to come by, say hi. So I got involved. My path to PSG started with the SOGA and SFAB board. So as treasurer, I do handle all of our finances and reimbursements, but then I also chair the SOGA and SFAB boards, which give money to the 1,000 student organizations that we have here on campus. So kind of just a broad overview of what to know about the SFAB grant is we are a board kind of representing the whole student body that reports directly to you guys, the Senate. So come March or April, the SFAB funding for next academic year will come through the Senate floor for you guys to approve. That funding is approved by the Student Senate through Financial Affairs first. And we have authority over the student activity fee on an annual basis. So every undergraduate pays $20 per semester as part of the student activity fee. All of that is pooled together into about $1.2 million, which is then given out once a year through the SFAB grant process. So it is the students' money, it is your money that we're allocating, which is why the board is a representation of the student body, but then also it comes through the Senate because you represent the student body. The application is now open. It opened a couple weeks ago, and it's due February 1st. We're not flexible on that deadline. People ask, but that's when it's due. You can start working on it now. Any organizations you're involved with, get the word out. The SFAB grant specifically is for $15,000 or more. There's no maximum. If you want to request the whole $1.2 million, go for it. Yeah, you won't get it. You won't get the whole 1.2, but if that's what you want to request, you can. If you want to request $3 million, you can't. You won't get it. But there is no max, which is different than the SOGA grant, which is for smaller things less than $15,000. And it must impact the student body. The student activity fee, this $20, comes from the undergraduate students. So we're focused on how can these funds, through these events, benefit the undergraduate students. And it can be a registered student organization, but it can also be a department. Any idea that an undergraduate has, they can apply for that SFAB grant. So if you just have to be backed by someone who manages money. So some examples of not student organizations are like the COREC has requested SFAB before, the Bechtel Center. So it doesn't need to be a student organization. You just have to have an idea or an initiative that will help undergraduate students.
All right, so yes, it's on. So a little bit about viewpoint neutrality of the board. So all the members of the SOGA SFAB board do go through viewpoint neutrality training, basically so that they can evaluate and assess the applications for SOGA and SFAB grants that come in. Also, the advisors, myself and Martia and some others, are present during these meetings too. So just in case someone says something that's not viewpoint neutral, we can call them out on it, have a conversation, keep the conversation going. But some of the tenets of viewpoint neutrality include making sure that we're staying close to what the guidelines say for SOGA and SFAB, as well as creating a record of the deliberations and conversations. So if we're going to say no to an organization on giving them money, we're going to tell them why. We're not just going to say, nope, sorry, and leave them at that. It's not going to work. So we're keeping track of that and can share that information. But also we're sharing, yes, you are approved for your grant, but here are some stipulations that you might run into depending on if something is teetering the guidelines or we need to give you additional direction. So again, we're giving you the written information and we're providing metrics to avoid conflicts of interest. We want everyone to go in there with a blank slate to understand the information that's being shared, whether it's in an SFAB presentation or just the SOGA application. So we do disallow student referenda referrals directly or indirectly. So we can't be reviewing a SOGA grant application and someone go, oh, I know that person, they're my best friend, we should totally give them the money. That's not gonna work. We're gonna say that's really nice, but strike that from the record. That does not work out. But with that as well, which we'll dive into a little bit more, we also can't have members of the board during the presentation going, well, I don't know what that is, so we're not going to fund it because I don't understand what that is. Or saying, oh, I love video games, we should definitely fund this. That's a conflict of interest, that's not viewpoint neutral. So we help navigate that as we go through the process. So here's some examples that have been funded in recent years by the SFAB grant. The annual Grand Prix Ray, Purdue University Dance Marathon, which is coming up here in a couple weeks, the Bengali Artist Festival, and the IFC Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Conference. So a lot of great things get funded through SFAB, and that's just a couple of them. There are so many that last for the entire year, are multiple objectives, but primarily focus and support the undergraduate student population.
So kind of understanding the application process and what's going on. So as I mentioned, November 1st already happened. The application is open. It's available on BoilerLink in the finance page. In fact, on the main BoilerLink page, there's like 3 boxes. That first box is a link with screenshots to fill out the application. If you can't find it, email me. I'll send it to you. But it kind of walks you through the application process. SFAB initiatives, it's funding for the whole academic year. So starting next fall, 2022, until 2023. If your event's happening then and over $15,000, SFAB is what you want to apply for. We do ask that the groups come in and present to us. It's a whole weekend. The board sits Friday afternoon all the way through Saturday evening, and we listen to every presentation. They're 10 minutes long. Tell us what your initiative is, how it will help the undergraduate students, and then we do kind of a 5-minute Q&A to fill in the gaps. And then the board deliberates, and then we present you with our funding proposal. And once you approve that, then Mike and myself meet with the groups in April and let them know all of the stipulations and guidelines that come along with the funding.
Fun fact, when I actually got started at Purdue in April, it was right when those meetings were happening. So I was sitting in on some of the SFAB meetings, and I was sitting there going like, I have no idea what's happening right now. We just gave someone $100,000. Like, excuse me? So understanding the application process and FYIs. So your organization must be active and in good standing. So if you've broke some university policies, SAO policies, you're in a negative account balance on your general account, you're no longer in good standing with SAO, thus you're not gonna be able to apply for an SFAB grant. And the funds are distributed through the Business Office for Student Organization, BOSO. It's not only a clown, it's also an organization on campus. Anyone know what BOSO is? Bozo the clown, some? Okay, great. God, I'm getting old. But do note that if you do receive an SFAB grant for the 2022-2023 academic year, your organization is ineligible to apply for the SOGA grants. SOGA grants are based off 4 periods throughout a year. SFAB does cover the entire year, but we're not allowing folks to double dip. Also, and Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, your organization cannot apply for multiple SFAB grants, correct? Correct. Yeah. So one SFAB application can be for multiple events or initiatives throughout the entire year. With SOGA being 4 periods throughout a year, organizations can only apply for 1 application per period. But we're not here to talk about SOGA. I just want to make sure people knew, put everything into one SFAB application, not into 4 or 5 separate ones. They'll get denied. That won't be good. Just in case you want to look at the SFAB application before it goes live, or it is live before you actually dive into it, there is a blank application that is available on the SFAB page on BoilerLink. You can go into the application on BoilerLink through your student organization page and actually start filling out the application, and it'll save your progress. So even if you start going through it and you want to stop, you need some more clarification or have questions, you can go ahead and exit out of it. That's okay, will not automatically submit. So the funds can only be used for university-approved items. There's a big list in the SFAB guidelines, the university guidelines, et cetera, of things that the SFAB grant will and will not fund. So we're not going to fund your organization buying its own elephant. I'm sorry, I don't care who you are on campus, you're not getting an elephant. If I can't have one, you can have one either. So just know also that unused funds are sent back to the SOGA SFAB board, and that's okay. So if your organization applies for the year of funding for $100,000 and you only end up using $80,000, the extra $20,000 isn't going back into your organization's general fund, and they're definitely not going into anyone's pocket in this room or on this campus or university or the world. They are going back to the board for redistribution later. And that's okay, because maybe you asked for more money than you needed and you didn't use all the money. That's all right. The money's going to go back and help other students as well.
So just some other things to know. You can submit changes if we know it's hard to plan a whole year in advance, but you can update it later on. There's a form on BoilerLink. On your original application, though, it helps to be as specific as possible. Like I said, help the board help you. After your presentation in that Q&A, we don't reach out for more information. So we want everything you can tell us, everything you can give us. Please give it to us so we can help look at your event in a viewpoint neutral way. Also, kind of overestimate what you need, especially, sorry, doesn't do travel. I don't know. Costs fluctuate, you get different invoices, different cost estimates. Kind of overestimate it, like Mike said. If you have extra money, it goes back and we give it back out. And then keep in mind, just prices change. That gets groups, and there's nothing we can't, once we give it out, we can't give out more if groups need more. So just keep that in mind. And then we it's a requirement, any SFAB funded stuff, maybe you've seen posters on campus, they have a little SFAB thing in the corner. That's so students know where their activity fee went. And so they know, oh, I helped pay for this.
Yeah, so if the SFAB grant somehow buys an airplane, I got a nice sticker to put on the side of that airplane. Lets people know that SFAB funded that. We got big ones, we got little small ones too to put on everything. Letting folks know where that money came from. It came from all of you, thank you.
Just some things that you don't want to get caught up on. SFAB does not fund the travel for students or staff on or off campus. So like if the Grand Prix wanted to shuttle students to the track for their event, SFAB won't fund that. They'll have to find the money somewhere else. If you want to fly somewhere, you can't. You have to get the money from somewhere else. SOGA, which if you have SOGA questions, we can talk later. SOGA does fund travel if you want to fly somewhere. SFAB does fund travel to bring speakers to Purdue. Anyone you want to bring, you can pay for their travel, their lodging, just not the students or staff. This thing we see over and over again. On line items inside the application, they have the name of the line item in the category. If it's miscategorized, it does not get funded. Just make sure you have someone double or triple check, especially if it's a big line item. We've seen line items that take up half of their funding proposal get denied because it's miscategorized. It's just a little drop-down box, but double, triple check it. And read the guidelines. On the SFAB BoilerLink page, there's a little PDF document. It's not super long, but that is the easiest way to know whether you're going to get funded or not. Read those guidelines. And a lot of times groups will come back and ask what's going on, and I'll just quote the guideline. When they submit the application, they say, yes, I've read the guidelines, so make sure you actually read them. We do follow up with the groups to make sure funds are spent according to their original application. They turn in reports in October and after their event's done. That's just to make sure they're sticking with the stipulations the board placed, sticking with university policy, just kind of to keep up. And back to APFs. These are larger events. Make sure you get that APF in. Make sure SAO can look at it in a timely manner.
Yeah, most likely if you're having a big event and international artists come in, you're hosting a concert, we're going to be talking right away about your event and getting that out there. Don't submit an APF 2 weeks out if you're trying to fly someone in from Germany for a concert. It's not going to happen. All right, so important items to know. Money from approved line items can be moved around freely. This is a little different from SOGA. We're just going to focus on the SFAB. But here's an example, because I'm an example-based person. Your organization received funding to have an event on campus that has a guest speaker whose fee is $1,000. The guest speaker lets you know, well, they can no longer make it. You can move that $1,000 around to another approved line item. So if we go to the next slide, more of a visual example for my visual learners like me. If we see on what would be your left side, you have your fund for SFAB is climbing gear for $10,000, caving gear for $5,000, and backpacks for $1,000. But then you realize, you know what? We don't need $5,000 worth of caving gear, but we could use $2,000 worth of backpacks. You are free to move as much money as you would like from the caving gear to the backpack line item. So in this example, we've moved $1,000 from caving gear to backpacks. That is because all three of those line items are funded. That's totally fine to do. What we cannot do, which is on your right, is have caving gear, or climbing gear, caving gear, and backpacks set for the money, but then realize, oh, you know what? We need food. We need granola bars, right? We got to have all that stuff ready to go on our big trip. You can't just create a line item and move money into that. If a line item was not approved or did not exist during your application and approval process, you can't just make it up out of thin air. Does that make sense to everyone? Cool.
So as I mentioned, you can, planning a year in advance, you can submit changes. It's called a request for modification. It's on the Boiler Link page for SFAB. These are looking like big changes. Like I said, if your speaker can't come and you want to change the event into something that's not a speaker, you put in that form. You can still use that money. The board looks at it like they look at the original applications. Does it follow our guidelines? Are we being viewpoint neutral? Because we do want the money to be spent even if your event changes.
So if you have questions or need assistance, you can email sfab@purdue.edu for specific SFAB questions. You can also schedule a meeting with Sean or whoever the next chair will be for the SOGA SFAB board. Best way to get contact with Sean is through soga@purdue.edu. Or you can schedule a meeting with me via Boiler Connect to talk about grants as well. And just for a cheap little plug here for upcoming grant informational sessions, you can feel free to take a photo of this. I can also share it and we can get to you all as well. And this is all also on Boiler Link. Here are upcoming presentations that I'm doing in different formats regarding primarily SFAB, but the one coming up actually a week from today is about general grants, where I'll be talking more primarily about the SOGA grant, but also with some SFAB information as well. These other dates here will be strictly regarding SFAB. I'm gonna give you all a heads up. The presentation that I just did is pretty much the same one I'll do for the SFAB ones. So if you want to come to those, I'd love for you to be there and say hi and learn more and stuff. You've already seen the presentation, so it may be more beneficial for you just to have a conversation. We talk, have a meeting with Sean and I, but definitely encourage other people to come as well. We want to make sure people are informed about these grants, informed about ways that they can be successful, ways that they might get tripped up. You're contributing money to the university through undergraduate student fees. Let's use them for cool things. Any questions regarding SFAB? Yeah.
I don't know. This.
So like if a student organization has an event and they get like the funding, do you have to keep track of the invoices and do we have to like send receipts and invoices directly to SAO?
I'm gonna give that to Sean.
Yeah. So it's process. Organization treasurers and presidents should be familiar with the reimbursement system, but grants are reimbursed the same way general reimbursements are through the BOZO account, but we also ask for receipts in the grant reports. So you give them to BOZO, they'll reimburse you, but you also put it in your report and we make sure that, yes, this is what we approve.
Yeah, we're checking to make sure there's no funny business going on. If you're trying to slide a PS5 in your SFAB purchase, number one, where'd you find it? Number two, it won't work. I'm just kidding. I already have a PS5. But don't try and do anything funny. Other questions? Yeah.
So with you said earlier, the student organizations and student body on campus is what this is geared towards. Can there be a stipulation on only geared towards a certain number of the student body or a certain sect of the student body? So say I have a speaker coming in that I want to present to my club. Is that going to have the same likelihood of being funded as a speaker who comes to speak to, I guess, anybody that is willing to come?
Yeah, no, that's a great question because some groups do want to just have them for themselves. Now, Sean, the SFAB has the priorities, right? Same priority list.
It's different from SOGA. I don't know how many, we keep saying SOGA. If you have questions about SOGA, we can talk about that another day. But for SFAB, in the guidelines, there's a list of what SFAB is looking for in an application. And so yes, there are things that can be funded directly towards a specific group, but as long as they're undergraduates, it'll be okay. You just have to be clear in your application. Let us know what you're looking for, and just check out those priorities.
Yeah, just know that we are trying to find events that are targeted towards open to campus, but it's still possible. It's just the ones that are open and primarily free to campus. That's what's going to weigh a little bit heavier for it to be approved.
Yeah, we're looking for impact on undergraduate students, and as part of viewpoint neutrality, it does not matter to us how many students you're impacting. If you're impact 2 students or 2,000, that application, that initiative does have merit. We do want to fund it.
Yeah, because we also understand there's a ripple effect, right? So maybe an event is only for your organization that gets funded, but you all can go educate others throughout as well. Yeah. Other questions? Yeah.
This might be a silly question, but I just want to make sure I understand. So, like, for the SFAB grant and then the example you all use, how much wiggle room is there when it comes to items you already have lined out? For example, could one somehow argue that food is part of caving gear because you need the energy to go climbing? That is a caving gear thing. Is that a thing that happens often? Would I justify that, or is part of the application to be as specific as possible?
I mean, be specific, but food would have its own line item in the application, so you'd list that out. So caving gear would be like a supplier and equipment, depending on how you wanting to say it, but food would be a separate area within it. Yeah.
We go off like common knowledge. Like I think it's common knowledge, like milk would be a food or beverage. It doesn't belong into any other category, right?
Well, I mean, so we talked about like miscategorizing line items. So if someone on an application puts down glue as a food and beverage, a common person would say, okay, glue is not a common food that most people eat unless you're like in 5th grade or a toddler or something. I don't know, kid's age. You don't eat glue, right? So we're not gonna let you have that because you miscategorized it. But if you're trying to buy a watermelon for your event, but it seems like you're doing a watermelon smash rather than just like eating watermelon, we may have some conversation about how this should be categorized, and might be one of those stipulations we talked about, saying, okay, you can have the watermelon to smash, but we're not going to have you eat it because of the categorization. When you fill out the application and put in line items, there's a description section where you can actually like put in notes on there. That's part of helping the board understand what you're trying to do. Don't make the board guess. The board is not able to like sit there and Google things during a meeting and look up stuff. That's part of the viewpoint neutrality. So please tell your friends, yourselves, whoever, be specific, let us know what's going on, give us details and descriptions, but you don't have to be like super detailed. So if you want to bring a band to campus next year, but you don't know which band, you can say, we'd like to bring a band that's, super popular in the rock community, and this is the amount of money we're looking to spend. You do not have to specify which band you're looking to bring, because you may not know that yet. They may not be available, but you have to give us an idea of what you're looking for. Yeah.
I was just gonna ask, how do you like announce if you got it or not? Is it just like an email, or is it like a meeting with them there so you ask the question?
Yeah, Sean and I can get on top of one of the bell towers and get a megaphone. Let people know. No, Sean, you can take that one.
Through the application on Boiler Link, we go in and leave notes and say, this was miscategorized, not funded, or this is being funded. So whoever submits it through Boiler Link gets a notification of approval or denial. And then we send out an email to schedule the meetings. And then they come in, they have a binding agreement that they sign. But the primary notification is linked to Boiler Link on that application. So check your emails.
Yeah.
What's the ratio of accepted and denied proposals?
Ooh. Last year for SFAB, we did not knock out very many applications. They were like quality applications in accordance to what can or can't be funded. That's a good question. SOGA has a lot more rules, and we have to deny more there. But I think organizations come back and are familiar with the application process, get more familiar with the guidelines. So I think as a general trend, less are being denied. I've never looked at the ratio. I might go through my spreadsheets.
Yes, give Sean homework. Good, good. Any other questions? I believe we're running down on time, so
Yeah.
wanted to check in.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, based on what I feel like the understanding I have is, so if SFAB is running, like, say they're maxing out on the amount of money they have, is it possible then does SFAB change, like, oh, this is something this is a line item we're not funding this year? Because I feel like I believe that's happened in the past, right? Or like-
Yes. So kind of how it goes is we get 3 million in requests, and we sit in that room and we're like, we need to get this number down to 1.2. And we look at kind of common themes. So over the past 2 years, we've taken 2 different approaches. One is percentage cuts, percentage cuts where if you are bringing a performer or speaker, we bring you down this percentage. Or if you have 2 big events in your proposal, we're going to fund 50%. Or if you just want equipment, we're funding, it was like 88%. The other route we took 2 years ago was we put caps. So if you're a purely equipment proposal, it'll be 20,000. If you're bringing speakers or concerts, that'll be 80,000. But we look at theme. It's not, oh, this one group wants this, we're not throwing it out. It's a lot of groups want this. We can't fund all of them. Can we give them some funding for it and just bring it down across the board? Now, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that kind of leads to, I guess, my follow-up question. So based on that understanding then, I know that in the past, if you say it's like, it's got to be 15,000. So say a organization is asking for $20,000, and then you guys say, oh, well, this is a very common item that somebody wants. Maybe it's like repair to a facility, but it's going to be like not this year specific. Like it could be a long-term thing, whatever you determine needs to be cut. They then fall below 15,000 and they're now disqualified. Why? But that's not their fault because they didn't know ahead of time that line item was going to be cut out. So is it still possible? Can they get less than $15,000 because ahead of time they had no idea that you guys were going to say, oh, this specific line item is going to be cut back, but now we're disqualified because our total is less than that.
Yep, and that was actually a big conversation last year. On the SFAB page, you can look at the process, our old final reports that went through the Senate to see the process. But last year, what we decided was if you were brought below 15,000 because of something like a miscategorized line item, then your application's thrown out. But if you were brought below 15,000 because of percentage cuts, we kept you in. That's up to the board each year. And then when it comes to you guys, if you don't like it, you have the option to send it back by vote.
Any final questions?
I'm glad Olivia thought of us. I feel like Senate doesn't always get informed of the SFAB process, and the bill just kind of shows up. But the Senate actually approves SOGA and SFAB guidelines and the SFAB funding. So you'll probably see some more legislation coming through. And I know maybe you guys don't have the initiatives, but you all have other organizations that could be looking for money.
Yeah, there's been a lot of brainstorming this year. It's been like a brain hurricane of ideas, so y'all going to see some cool stuff coming. It'll be just a good discussion, but I think with that, we're done. Yep. So thanks for your time, and yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike and Sean. I know that's really valuable information that you all can definitely take back to your constituencies as well. Let me get our presentation up here. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and get started. Hello and welcome. And at 7:48, I'll now call this meeting to order. First, we'll get started with our introduction of visitors. If we have any visitors, please go ahead and introduce yourself and state your reason for being here. We can go ahead and start with our Sams in the back again.
Hi, my name's Irene Scudder. I'm a SAM for the College of Education.
Hi, my name's Katie Del Real, and I'm a SAM for the College of Engineering.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Jennings, and I'm a SAM for the Honors College.
Do we have any other visitors here in the back?
Hi, I'm Sarah Glacken, and I'm here with the Exponent.
Hi, my name is Isabel Chan. I'm a candidate for co-ED of Governmental Relations Committee on the Board of Directors.
Awesome. Thank you so much to our visitors for being here tonight, and we'll go ahead and get into proxy reports. If you're a proxy, go ahead and state your name and the senator you're proxying for. And just for future reference, if you hold your finger down on the black speaker in front of you, the green light will turn on, and just hold your finger down on it. You can go ahead.
Hi, my name's Brooklyn Abshire. I'm a proxy for Iana Degasman.
Any other
Hello,
proxies?
I'm Josh Mariani. I am a proxy for Scott Ashby.
Thank you both for being here tonight. Any other proxies? Alrighty, with that, we'll go ahead and move into President King is going to take our roll call this evening. No worries.
Senator Reynolds.
Here.
Senator Ferguson.
Here.
Senator Brunda.
Here.
Senator Ashby as a proxy. Senator Terrell. Senator Perello.
Here.
Senator Fridlin.
Here.
Senator Merkel.
Here.
Senator Knauss.
Here.
Senator Chris.
Here.
Senator Dodona.
Here.
Senator Bridges.
Here.
Senator Price.
Here.
Senator Buftis.
Here.
Senator Brown.
Here.
Senator Askinis.
Here.
Senator Fitchner.
Here.
Senator Thomas.
Here.
Senator Silver.
Here.
Senator Natur.
Here.
Senator Carana.
Here.
Senator Braun. Senator Stockler.
Here.
Roll call has been.
Thank you, President Kang. We'll now move into our land acknowledgement. Purdue student government acknowledges the traditional homelands of the indigenous people upon which Purdue is built. We honor and appreciate the Potawatomi, Delaware, Miami, and Shawnee people who are the original indigenous caretakers of the land. Now we'll move into our pledge of purpose. Senators, please rise. Our purpose is to be the voice of the Purdue student body, serve the needs of students in all university matters, and provide leadership that stimulates initiative, inspires excellence, and exemplifies professionalism. And above all, hail Purdue. Awesome, thank you guys. The minutes for the last meeting were distributed to you all via the Google Drive. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Okay, seeing none, the minutes are approved as distributed. Now moving into executive reports. President Kang, would you like to take it away?
One thing is we're keeping a pulse on what's happening with the sexual violence cases and just the reactions around it on campus, with working closely with the Me Too Purdue organization and also with the administrators. So if you guys have any input on that, please let us know. But I'm actually gonna hit it to Vince while I continue thinking.
Go for it, you can go ahead.
Hey, same things as usual. I don't want to take too much time. The BOD spreadsheet is always in the drive. It's been wonderful seeing so many of you at BOD. I hope you've been enjoying yourself. You're welcome to come as many times as you'd like. It's typically like that for the remainder of the year and the semester. It might change a little bit depending on recommendations from members. But things are going great on our side. Thank you for the support. Thank you for showing up, even though I know it's a requirement. We really appreciate having you and kind of creating that as an internal bonding experience. And then also, please feel free to help sign up for tabling and for various events throughout the weeks. We could definitely use the help once in a while just because course schedules have become so jumbled due to like the batch registration pushing everything towards the middle and the beginning of the day. So if like that makes signing up a little bit difficult at times. So if you find yourself with some extra free time, we would definitely appreciate the help. And then I would encourage you heavily to go to the Refugee Gala this Friday. It's from 7 to 9 p.m. in the Great Hall of the Honors College. Tickets are $8 per for a student, but if you sign up to help volunteer for the event, you do not have to pay for a ticket, and you will also get all the fun perks of being able to attend the event and see the great things as well as food. And that is something that we are co-sponsoring with MSA and Purdue Immigrant Allies. I think it's going to be a wonderful time, so I'd encourage you to come.
Awesome. Oh, go ahead, President Kang.
Sorry, I was trying to take the minutes and provide updates. So the fall survey will be going out through the Strategic Planning and Assessment Committee, meeting with Dr. SS from administration this Friday to finalize it up. We're going to include some of the pillars that Olivia and I ran on, so the diversity and inclusion, mental health, involvement and accessibility, and sustainability. So we want to gauge the pulse on that. So fall survey, hopefully you guys can spread the word. We're going to try to include it in our networks and encouraging professors to maybe provide bonus points if they're cool. But if not, just sharing it with whoever you can. And winterization is this Saturday. Purdue Student Government is on the list of orgs that are getting involved. So if you don't know what winterization is, then we just rake leaves in the community. So sign up if you can. It's pretty early in the morning, so just to get it out of the way and to volunteer for the community. And some University Senate will be on Monday, and there are a few pieces of legislation from past student government members and from last year's administration. So pulling those through. The medical excuse absence leave policy, and the second one is a grade update policy. So stay on the lookout for those. Oh, and also the Safer Action Plan will be on the so our Safer Action Plan that Safer created. It's going to be voted to hopefully be supported by those faculty members.
Awesome. Thank you, President Kang. You took most of my executive reports. So just as an update, I sent you all a message on Slack and via email. We'll be having our annual dinner with student life administrators. So that includes Dean Katie, Dr. Beth McCuskey, their team within student life. That will be November 17th, I believe from 6 to 7:30. Please RSVP in the link that I dropped in the Slack and include any dietary restrictions if you have them. And please do that as soon as possible because I need to get those numbers out on Sunday. Just so you all know, you can add it on the calendar. I'll add it to the PSG calendar and throw something in the Slack as well. For anybody who can't make winterization this weekend, also hasn't met their service requirement yet, or just likes to volunteer, want to go do some community service, on Saturday, December 4th, from 9 to noon, we are signed up to volunteer at the YWCA domestic violence shelter in Lafayette. So I'm super excited about that. They have a lot of fun stuff for us to do. We may be putting up their Christmas tree, so that'll be kind of fun. So just be looking out for a sign-up sheet to volunteer then. Again, just like President Kang mentioned, MEPS, the medical excuse absency policy. As Vice President, I serve on Educational Policy Committee within University Senate, and so we've dealt the most with MEPS, kind of drafting it, getting the language correct, and so that it suits kind of all stakeholders, and it can hopefully pass University Senate with flying colors. So we're really excited. That came out of work from PSG. Patrick Berinsky specifically, who was in Senate, correct, last year? Yep, 2 years ago. 2 years ago. But yeah, that was kind of his child and his project, and we're super, super excited to hopefully see it come to fruition. Just like President Kang said, a bill for midterm grade updates twice a semester. And then there's also another piece of legislation that clarifies the difference between dead week and finals. So it allows dead week to actually kind of exist as this rest time before finals. And then I think that's all from me. So any other executive reports? Go ahead, Pro Temp Reynolds.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to remind everyone again about a Senate social hour that is happening on Monday in the Shin Forum. Cabinet, you guys can come too. I might extend it to BUD. I don't know how many people are going to come because it is just Shin Forum. But yes, at 5:30, 7:30.
Yes, in the student forum on Monday. Please come and hang out and let's bond a little bit. And then also something that we have one more Senate session left, sadly, because of Thanksgiving break and finals and all that. So I need legislation for that. I'll let you know because there is like a break because of Thanksgiving break. So maybe it's 2 weeks from now, but just keep a lookout for when I need the legislation for that so that we can get the committees voting on things like that. But there's only one left in this semester. And then also I just wanted to let you all know that I worked with Vince a little bit about increasing the communication between BOD and Senate. Obviously Vince comes to these meetings and gives us the update, and we are required to go to their meetings, but none of them are required to come here. Totally fine, but we also don't have time to give updates at their meetings, but we changed that a little bit so Senate now gets a slide in the BOD PowerPoint that they show at their meetings. So me or one of the other committee chairs will be presenting at each meeting. So it's just another incentive to go to a BOD because they might be talking about something that you helped with, or if you want to go talk to BOD yourself. I've worked it out with Vince, and they're very friendly. It's a good time. And then just a final reminder about your Senate duties.
Awesome. Thank you, Veronica. Again, if you guys have any issues, questions, comments, concerns about your Senate duties, come find one of us, Slack message one of us, and we can help you out with that. Any other executive reports? Go ahead, Sean.
A little more grant stuff. The SOGA Period 2 grant was funded a couple weeks ago. Over 50 groups applied, and we gave out over $200,000 in student fees. And that was SOGA Period 2. As I mentioned earlier, Period 3 applications are open, so tell your student groups about that. Those are due in January. Senators, just a reminder that committees and colleges have budgets allotted. That money is there for you to spend. Please, if you are having a tabling event or anything, please add me to that APF. It's like the last page, just so I can know what payments are coming in. BOD does this. It's super easy to reimburse you if I have access to the APF. And then please reach out if you want to check out the P card or have budget or reimbursement questions. I'll help you there.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Sean. Any other executive reports? Alrighty, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into committee reports, internal affairs. You can go ahead and take it off.
Yeah, so internal affairs doesn't really have anything new to report. We're still working on the legislation that we've been working on for the past few months.
Awesome. Thank you, Lily. Go ahead, FA.
Yeah, so in spirit of grants, the PSG Small Grant has been operating, and we've been reviewing applications as they come along. We recently got a deputy treasurer appointed, which has helped with the logistical side, which has definitely made us a more effective organization. If you know anybody who wants money, send them to PSG's way, and it's on the boiling page. Anyone can apply for it. It's a lot. It's a little simpler than the SOGA and SFA stuff that you've heard about today, but it's still a great avenue for organizations to receive money. Secondly, we had a really productive meeting with President Kang, Vice President Wyrick, and Treasurer Wiseman, as well as Chief of Staff Reinhard, about the financial regulations here in PSG. The goal is to sort of take those conversations and the financial affairs input and translate that into legislation for you all. So that's something that will be coming up from financial affairs soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Senator Dodona. CSRA?
No new big update. We're still working on I guess we're in the process of working on the blue lights legislation. We're trying to set up a meeting with UPD to kind of get insight from them, and we're learning like new things, and I'm hearing new things about that. But yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Senator Corona. UAA?
Our chair could not be here tonight, so I will be talking on her behalf. But basically, we are currently working on finalizing our legislation about providing meal swipes for off-campus students. And we also just scheduled a meeting with the new executive director of university advising. He reached out to us looking to talk to some people in Senate, and so we scheduled that meeting, and that's like 2 weeks out. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Senator Perillo, for filling in today. We'll go ahead and start with the SAFER ad hoc. Any reports?
Yeah, so SAFER is moving full steam ahead. We had our event a little bit ago, which was really successful, as well as we've been sort of working on looking at translating the action plan into legislation on the university floor. We sort of had the first step with that, and we're still moving on looking at including more and more parts of that action plan into legislation moving forward within a university senate. Additionally, we're working with strategic planning and assessment to do some tabling, pulling some student data, and figuring out best ways to go in the future, as well as sort of defining some of the next steps in our committee and what we want both initiatives and event planning aspects to look like. Another plug, if you want to join SAFER, you're always welcome to join SAFER. It's a really cool part to add to your PSG experience if you're interested. So reach out if you're interested in joining.
Thank you. Our LGBTQ plus ad hoc committee.
Yeah, so we're working on starting an Instagram page, and we also will be having our call out the first week of December. I'm also working with the strategic planning and assessment to get some data from the students.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Senator Natur. Our MHA committee.
Yeah, so MHA is starting. We had a few meetings so far, and we are meeting again on Sunday, this next Sunday, I believe the 14th, at 4 p.m. in Winnipeg Parker Hall. And we've had good turnout with people a little bit internally, a lot of people, some people from BOD, some people in cabinet, some people not in PSG at all, which is exciting. But if you know anyone in like mental health related organizations or just in like psych and are passionate about it, we would love people who have more connections with those like organizations on campus to come. We're trying to invite them, but it's okay. It doesn't work out for everyone. But also, yeah, everyone is invited. We are narrowing down our brainstorming process, but what we actually want to do and launch. But we're going to divide up into small committees next week. So next week is a good time to come because it's not too late. Never too late, but come next week.
Perfect. Thank you, Pro Temp Reynolds. Now we're going to move into informal discussion. Do I hear any informal discussion? Go ahead, Senator Chris.
All right, so I just want the record to show that it is, in my opinion, that Purdue has mismanaged the current and past sexual assault claims that have come to light. I pray for both the survivors, and I also pray for the administration to make actionable steps to stop these incidents from ever occurring again, as one sexual assault is one too many.
Thank you, Senator Chris. We really appreciate that. Thank you. Any other informal discussion? Alrighty, seeing none, we'll move into old business. Do I hear any old business? Alrighty, seeing none, we'll move into new business. Do I hear any new business at this time? Go ahead.
Motion to bring up Bill 2138.
It has been properly moved and seconded to bring up Bill 2138, the creation of the Deputy Chief of Staff position within Cabinet. This is amendable and debatable and requires a majority vote. I can go ahead and get started talking about kind of why we wrote this bill, why we believe that, when I say we, Cabinet as a whole, why we believe the Deputy Chief of Staff position is relevant and necessary. Any senators who have attended their BOD meeting already this semester knows that BOD encompasses a lot of members, a lot of initiatives, and kind of a lot of different kind of avenues going in different directions. And that just requires a little bit more management in terms of kind of the administrative side. So whether that's helping with APFs, helping answer questions, really just making sure things get done from start to finish. And we've seen a need for kind of the Deputy Chief of Staff position as a whole. And we've fortunately had Abidemi step in just from the start of the semester up until now. He's kind of been filling this position without really the title, and he's been helping out with BOD, doing an excellent job. And he's been just kind of the first example of why we need this position moving forward for future years of PSG. Chief of Staff, would you like to go ahead and touch on anything else?
I am anticipating fielding some questions on this, so I'll keep my remarks short. But I will say the Chief of Staff position is, when done right, extremely influential and overarching, and it has the ability to really push that side of PSG forward in a really good way. It is, truthfully, you reap what you sow. I believe in that wholeheartedly. And this goes back to a conversation with some of the members I had with FA a couple days ago. These positions really do matter. And having somebody that can kind of go through, in essence, like a training program for that is available to any president that wins the election the following year, in my opinion, is invaluable. It's a lot of responsibility. It's something that one person can do, but we are nearing 100 members in BOD, and you truthfully just cannot give your 100% energy to every person or every committee in the organization at that point. So it kind of serves as like, yes, helps with administrative tasks, but it's also a real life year-long training program for a potentially and arguably the most qualified candidate on campus to be chief of staff for any president the following year if they enjoy the process. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have, but that, in my opinion, is the real value behind it.
Thank you, Vince. President Kang.
Yeah, and I've definitely, in the office, just hearing about board of directors and being updated, it shows that it's better if they have a smaller number of committees that each chief of staff, deputy chief of staff will overlook, and the updates flow, and they're two great people, Abidemi and Vince are. So I think this position, yeah, very much seconding what everyone said, it's a good position to create for PSG.
Thank you, Shannon. We'll now open it up for discussion from senators. Any questions? Senator Chris.
So my question's for Vince. Was there like a certain thing that like event that happened or situation that happened that made you feel that this role was necessary, or was it more of just kind of a gradual building process?
I would say, like, thankfully I've been blessed to have participated in this position with 3 separate presidents now. And it is just an evolving learning process, absolutely. You find out what works, what doesn't work. And this is something that I was walking through the dining court during RA training, and I was like, ran into Abidemi, and I was like, this guy could like do my position right now. He just doesn't know it. He just doesn't know enough. And so it just kind of hit me right then as like a spur of the moment idea. And I think it has really manifested itself well. But to go back to the original question, it was just an evolving thought over time. We've changed a lot with BOD over the last 3 years, but this is just a bigger moving piece.
Any other discussion? Senator Brenda?
So I know we've informally discussed he's not able to be here tonight, but aside from that, since this bill is not pertaining to his appointment directly, specifically, I guess my question is more along the specifics of the position, not necessarily who's going to fill it. So we kind of discussed that, like, I believe that there's no specifications as to how many, like, of the committees that person would oversee. Yes, how would we feel that would be determined later on? And then my other question would be, does this person assume a ranking role in the position that a chief of staff resigns or leaves or is asked to leave? Does this deputy chief of staff then become the interim? Do they get automatically appointed upward? How does this work?
I can go ahead and take the second part of that question for you, Austin. So when a vacancy happens like that in cabinet, there's no immediate line of succession except, I believe, the president and vice president. So that would just be a new appointment. I don't think we would do maybe some kind of unofficial interim kind of transition, but there wouldn't be like where they would slide up. And you can note within the legislation that if you look at, if you want to say the hierarchy of cabinet or the way they're ordered in terms of succession, the deputy chief of staff position, I believe, is the 11th, so it's at the last position in cabinet. And then could you repeat the first part of your question, Austin? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just wondering about the division of the work here. It seems like it's understandable in the legislation that they report to the chief of staff and like they're overseen by the chief of staff and the president, but I didn't know if anyone else thought that it was like necessary to outline maybe that like this person takes a lead on a couple committees or something like that, or are we just going to leave that completely up to the discretion of the chief of staff?
Go ahead.
I would encourage it to be left more vague than specific, just because it is so fluid to the point that some weeks he is just absolutely slammed with stuff, and so I pick up some of the responsibilities that he might necessarily have if we were to create those guidelines, and vice versa. I would really encourage you, do what you want, but I think that it would work best if it was left a little bit more vague. But if you're concerned about like protecting them from being able to do too much, I don't really think that they even have like the bandwidth to be able to do that right now, even with the current language that you've put into the bill.
Any other follow-up questions or discussion? Alrighty, seeing none, we'll go into a vote on Bill 2138. All those in favor, please raise your name placard. Senator Thomas, online, just indicate your vote in the chat. Sorry, it takes me a while to count. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you can go ahead and lower your name placards. Any opposed? Any abstentions? With a vote of 22-0 to 1, Bill 2138 passes. Senator Dodonna.
I just had a point of order. Are you wanting us to put this into the voting records that are in the meeting notes as of currently, or is that being done after the meeting?
Are you looking at the thing that's on the Google Drive?
Yes,
like the
chart? Voting record, yeah.
I'll do that afterwards.
Awesome, I just wanted to check.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much. Do I hear any other new business? Go ahead.
Motion to bring up Bill 2139.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to bring up Bill 2139, the cabinet appointment of the co-ED of governmental relations, Ms. Izzy Chan. This is amendable and debatable and requires a majority vote. We'll go ahead and kick it over to Chief of Staff Rayfelt if you'd like to. All right, actually, no, I'm so sorry. Izzy, would you like to go ahead and share a little bit about yourself and why you'd like to be in this position?
Sure. So just like Abidemi, I've also been acting as a director for a few weeks now, and I've also been working very closely with Olivia, the other co-ED or current ED for governmental relations. There's a few things that I have done personally, specifically for this committee, that I can speak to. The first is, and you can see this in the Google Drive under the Board of Directors Governmental Relations Committee folder, there is a comprehensive assignment task sheet. This task sheet has been created by myself, but has been filled in by the rest of my committee members and has eliminated most or all of the ambiguity when it comes to tasks within our committee. This has allowed us to become a lot more efficient and effective, so much so that we have 2 events this week. We had one last week. We have upwards of 3 or 4 coming up within the next few weeks. Another thing that I have also personally done within the BOD folder for governmental relations is create like subset folders and organize my fellow committee members into subcommittees, which has also made us more efficient as a committee. I can also speak to some experience that I have outside of Purdue student government and outside of my experience as a director on this committee, if you would like, but I'll just leave it at that.
Awesome, thank you so much, Izzy. Chief of Staff Rayfelt, would you like to share any thoughts?
Yeah, just a few brief ones. So this was a committee that we didn't have a co-ED for initially. I remember Senator Chris asking why that was, and quite frankly, we just hadn't found the right candidate. Izzy provides a leadership style and structure to the committee that was needed, and it's not one that Olivia could not provide. It is just that providing that was not in her strength. They also have a very large committee, and so it would just help a lot for distribution and of work and being able to keep everybody actively engaged to have one more. Izzy's application came across our desk, and I felt like she was the right one for the job. And asked Shannon, and she felt she felt the same way as me. So happy to field questions about that process, but rest assured, this is a good fit.
Awesome, thank you, Vince. Go ahead and open it up for discussion from senators. Senator Chris.
All right, so if you would you rather lose your sense of smell or taste, and why?
I would say taste, because I'm pretty sure that smell is what provides taste. So I would only assume that I would only lose a little bit of taste if I still had my sense of smell.
I like that answer. That's amazing. Any other discussion? President Kang.
Izzy, can you speak on some of the previous experience and outside experience that you've had that makes you qualified to lead the Governmental Relations Committee?
Sure, President Kane. I served as the Purdue UNICEF Secretary for a year. I also served as the RHA representative for Wiley Hall, as well as the Hall Club Secretary. They're called the Excalibur Club, This was before it became an all-boys dorm. What else? I also served as the learning community representative for the pre-pharmacy program when I lived in Wiley. More recent experience I have is about 1.5 years of archival research experience doing public policy work and research at the local and state level in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Izzy. Any other discussion? Senator Brenda.
So you talked about previous experiences, and you've talked about what you've done, yes, currently to like help the efficiency of the committee and help things work out. But I guess what would you define as like your main vision, like for the committee as a whole?
Sure. So I still need to discuss this with my committee, but one thing that we've done at both of our events that we've put on this year is encourage and allow for a place where students can check their current registration as well as register to vote. As much as we don't track this, because we don't, and I don't believe that we have the grounds to do so, it is within bipartisanship that I very much believe that everyone who can exercise and should exercise their right to vote. And I believe that this is how I can do that, with this committee. And I think to more clearly answer your question, I think our vision here is to uphold bipartisanship by encouraging people to check their voter registration status as well as get registered.
Thank you. Thank you for your question, Senator Brenda. Any other discussion? Alrighty, see no more discussion. Izzy, I'll go ahead and have you step out for a moment while we vote. Alrighty, with that, we'll go ahead and move into a vote on Bill 2139. All those in favor, please raise your name placards. All those opposed, same sign. Any abstentions? Check the Zoom. Alrighty, Izzy can go ahead and come back in. Thank you, Nate. With a vote of 23-0, Bill 2139 passes unanimously. Congrats, Izzy. Do I hear any other new business at this time? Alrighty, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move into announcements. Do I hear any announcements? President Kang? Or did you have one? Okay, Senator Buftas, go ahead.
It's just kind of to re-announce that we're having the Refugee Gala this Friday, and please feel free to volunteer or stop by. That's all I had to say about that.
Thank you. Pro Temp Reynolds?
Okay, so looking at the calendar to tell you when I would need legislation by, I'm looking at it now, and next week is beauty, so I would say still to try to get it to me by this Sunday, please. And even if you're not exactly done, let me know what it is you're trying to pass, because some committees are going to meet in the next week, but some aren't because they're going to get cut off by Thanksgiving break. So it depends what you're trying to get reviewed by a committee and which committee you need. So just, I will say the deadline is Sunday, but it's like a little fuzzy because if you need more time, still tell me by Sunday if you're planning on putting it on the floor for our meeting on the 1st, please. So this is the formal announcement that I've made it clear that that is the date that I need it by. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. Any other announcements? President Kang? Oh, Senator Brenda, go ahead.
Just wanting to mention to everyone that if you have any friends in the College of Ag or anyone you know who would be interested in, or specifically someone in the College of Ag or any friends who would want to be a senator, the Ag Student Council has made live an application. I believe it's due next Friday, correct? 20th. I think that's next Friday. Anyway, in anticipation of my graduation and departure from PSG in December, we're looking to fill that role before any meetings come to pass when there's a vacancy.
Senator Brenda, do you know if they've made a flyer or a graphic or anything like that?
It has been put in the ag newsletter, the
Oh.
State Street Journal,
Okay.
but I have not seen a specific flyer for it.
Okay, I was just curious. Any other announcements? President King, would you finally like to go?
There is a speaker that the LGBTQ Plus Alliance is bringing to tomorrow at 6 p.m. It'll be posted on our Instagram story. There's Fab Friday on Friday at noon, and it's from like noon to 4, I believe. So if you guys have class at noon, I know on the spreadsheet it says that we'll like meet at Kroc and then walk over together. But it's usually at the LGBTQ Center, which is in Schliemann Hall, or it's at the Latino Cultural Center. So either one of those, ask in the Slack and we'll update. Something exciting that I recently saw was that the ARC is hosting like kimchi making sessions. If you guys don't know what kimchi is, it's fermented like spicy vegetables that Korean people eat as like side dishes. It's a really thorough process. Many Korean grandmas do it differently, but I know that I'm gonna go because I'm Korean and I still don't know how to make it. So if some of you guys want to join me, the last day to like actually attend this is next Wednesday. So it's a fun little plug that I would announce.
I'll be there with you. That sounds amazing. Any other announcements? Go ahead.
I have a question. Can I
Yeah.
ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Are there more details coming out for winterization?
Yeah, that's not ran specifically through us. I did get an email from them that we would get more details on Friday.
Okay.
But I'll reach out to them again and see if we can get some kind of clarifying. I was kind of thinking the same thing, so I'll let you know. Take that down. Any other announcements? Go ahead, Chief of Staff.
And just in case you don't get any further updates, typically what happens is you just pull up to the church and walk in, and then they redirect everybody from there and put you into like waves together. You can kind of formulate your own wave as long as you're showing up together. So typically we would just wait in the parking lot and then all go in together when it was time for that wave. And they do provide food at the end as well. It's typically pizza and something else easy that you can kind of grab on the way out. And it's not from 8 until 3. It's kind of like 8 until like 11 or 8 until noon. And you can also let them know that you're not interested in doing 20 houses. And you'd rather take 5 to 7, and they're totally fine with that as well. So just in case, no further information.
Any other announcements? President King.
The president's roundtable is happening next Friday, and I believe so. Obviously, I'm not the only representative that will be there, but I am the president, so I will be there. But anyone's welcome to come. Any senators, any board of director members, any court members, Senate associate members, you guys are welcome to come as well. We are the representative body, so I think as many of us who can go, I think will benefit a lot of the people that show up that day.
You said next Friday?
Right, next Friday at 7. Okay. 7.
Yeah, let me, before that offer is like 100% finalized, let me please check the capacity of the room that we have and the people that have already requested to come. We would love to have you, but I am not interested in putting 60 or 70 people in a room that holds 40. So I will shoot out a Slack message in the Everyone PSG channel as soon as I hear back on that. I will, if it's also at capacity already, I'll try and find a larger room. So just know I'm going to work on your behalf, but not officially finalized yet.
Any other announcements? Alrighty. We'll go ahead and move into Senate snaps. Anybody have a Senate snap to distribute? I have one. I'd like to give a Senate snap to both of our proxies and all of our SAMs in the back for being here tonight. I know these are super long meetings and they can be a little bit confusing, but you're here and you're learning. And we have really good snacks, so please come get one. Any other Senate snaps? Go ahead.
On behalf of all of Senate, I think we want to give Olivia one because of our delicious meal we had at caucus today.
We love you. We appreciate you. Sorry I didn't do it sooner. And if you have any other food that you want, Slack message me. But thank you. I appreciate it. Any other snaps? I'd like to give one to the Safer Gals. I'm so excited. We're continuing your work tomorrow in this meeting with stakeholders. And OMG, your action plan is going to University Senate. That's huge. I'm so excited. So proud of you guys and the work that's coming out of this body. Once again, I've said it all semester. I'll say it all next semester. But again, thank you so much for all your hard work. Any other Senate snaps? Go ahead.
I want to give one to Mike and Sean. It was the best presentation I've ever seen here. And I hope they do it again.
I don't got any cash to give you, but what's your PayPal? That's a joke. It's a joke.
It's coming out of SFAB, right? Right? Senator Ferguson?
Snaps to Veronica for being just really good to all of us and always being available to answer all of our questions.
Any other snaps? All right. Oh, President K.
For everyone that comes in the office, I love seeing you guys. It just makes my day. I'm sorry sometimes I feel like I don't want to talk. There's just a lot sometimes, some days. But know that I appreciate you. Know that I love that you guys are filling this space. But say hi.
Any other snaps? Okay, seeing no further snaps, the chair would entertain a motion to adjourn. Senator Chris?
Madam Chair, I motion that we do now adjourn.
It has been properly motioned and seconded to adjourn this meeting. It is not amendable, it is not debatable, and requires a 2/3 majority vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.